What happened? Did I limbo good?
You totally beefed it. You said, watch this, jerks, and then immediately slipped and concussed yourself.
Oh no, that's so embarrassing.
Then you got up and said, classic mistake, I get a redo. And then you fell even harder, it broke the floor, and while you were unconscious, you farted for a full minute.
We timed it.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We're back. It's only been a week, but still, we're back. Much like the Scream franchise is back, we're going to be talking about Scream 4 this week in anticipation of Scream 2022 releasing next week. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, and you're reminding me again of the whole thing of them using the same title for an old movie. So, like, you know, I mentioned this, like, when I did Junket for Halloween Kills, and they had to keep saying the original Halloween or Halloween from 1978.
Yeah, what gets the date? What gets the date? Like,
Right.
is Scream like Scream 96 or is this Scream 22, right? Like, which one gets it? Either way, our lemon squares taste like ass, and we're going to be talking about Scream 4 today in the main event. Scream 4 from 2011, so 10 years ago, right? 2011?
Well, now we could technically say
almost 12 years ago now.
Yeah. Let's say 11 years.
Let's say that.
That's what I'm saying.
So, Eric, we're just gonna put this out there. Gonna be upfront with this. Eric has seen Scream 22, so he's gonna pipe down a little bit while I lightly pontificate, ruminate about what Scream 22 might be about. He will be mum about this because Eric is a fancy boy who could not wait, like the rest of us, till next week to see the new Scream. He's got to actually interview the people about it. So he saw it already ahead of time. I just think it would be weird for your brain, Eric, just to know what's coming, but also now, I mean, I guess that's the way it is, but like, you know, it's headed our way, but we're going to talk about Scream 4. I don't know how that's messing with you.
I know. I was really, it's not your fault because I didn't mention it to you earlier, but when I texted Matt and said, are we podcasting tonight yesterday? And he said he couldn't because he hadn't finished Scream 4 yet. I was like, damn, I should have mentioned it to you earlier that my whole plan was we'll get it out of the way and I won't have to worry that I've seen Scream 5 already.
It's not Scream 5, Eric.
I know. It's not Scream 2022.
It's not 5 Cream either, with a 5 at
right.
the S, which everyone was upset about. But
it didn't work out. So, I just, there will be no theorizing, no, maybe they could do this. For me, I had to get that out of the way a few hours ago before I saw the movie because that time of my life is over.
Yeah. And if you want to hear Eric's predictions, but then also his reaction, you can go to his Twitter at the Eric Goldman.
I try to be very good with even my reactions because I know, you know, Matt, like, you know, you're maybe one of the most extreme people I know about not even wanting to hear like people's reactions.
I don't, but only for not for everything.
No, yeah.
You know, not for everything.
But I even put like, here is my non-spoiler reaction to Scream, and then I put like ... just so people had time to not look at my reaction. Because this is not Spider-Man No Way Home, but it is to an extent. There are people who aren't trying to go in as pure as they can for this sucker.
Yeah, it also, that works for people if you're scrolling through Twitter on your phone, but not on TweetDeck. So like, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
If you really don't want anything, stay off social media a week ahead of the movie. People. The world is ridiculous for many reasons, mostly pandemic reasons, but also Scream reasons. So let's get into some news here. Morbius has been hit with, I believe it's 5th delay. This movie's never coming out. I'm convinced it was never made. I think we filmed enough just for the trailer.
I don't know. It's like, I don't know, Matt. Maybe it was made. No, I just think I do have to say, because I got a couple people tweeting to me, oh, is this the new Mutants? I'm like, but so many movies have become the new Mutants. It's like we all made fun of New Mutants because it kept moving, and then like there was the thinner curse on all movies.
The new Mutants did it before it was cool.
They did. They were
and necessary. Yeah, like
because if you look, like, you know, Top Gun Maverick's been moved a million times. Of course, The Kingsman was moved a million times. A lot of these movies have had a ton of moves. So It's a sign of the times. I kind of want to compile which has had the most. I might actually do that this weekend.
I feel like it's Morbius.
I don't know.
I think it's five moves for Morbius.
I know, but I think there are some others that are going to tie it. I think that there's a few others. I think Venom might tie it because don't forget, Venom was going crazy at the end there where they did the last minute 3-week delay.
But it got moved and then it got moved back.
Yeah, because Suicide Squad bombed, they moved it 3 weeks. And then because Shang-Chi was a hit, they moved it forward 2 weeks. So yeah, it's mad. But Morbius is notable because, it's the first, we assume, possible Omicron, partial delay. I say we assume because nothing was said, and also because there's some theorizing that one reason, an additional reason they might have delayed it, and we
to put it closer to Doctor Strange.
No, is to move it away from Spider-Man even more, because for Sony, they have the freaking mega hit in theaters right now that is still number one, still making a shitload of money with Spider-Man. And for them, why not move Morbius? Because everyone kind of figured Morbius would be the next biggest movie after Spider-Man, even with Scream in between.
I don't even know about that. I don't know what to expect from Morbius because Venom, which still surprises me with his box office to this day, both of them,
yeah.
But I can't argue that Venom has had a huge fan base for decades. Like that.
Oh yeah, has a character and has like a hot.
Nobody has a Morbius poster in their room. Like everyone had Venom T-shirts and posters forever. Morbius,
Venom, like Deadpool, was like already like a cool thing before they made a movie.
There are so many people out there who are watching that Morbius trailer, missing the Spider-Man graffiti in the background, obviously because it's so quick, who have no idea that it's connected to Spider-Man in any way. Like
right.
Speaking of movies on the move, you just reminded me of a great 80s TV show, very short-lived one season called It's Your Move, Eric. Remember that with a very young Jason Bateman who was capitalizing off his Jerky Derek recurring role on Silver Spoons.
Not like you remember that show, but I spoke to Jason Bateman about that show once after a Q&A he did for Arrested Development circa season 3. I went up to him afterwards and we talked about It's Your Move, and he said how he would love to produce a new version, but you'd have to find I remember him saying to me, Matt, you have to find the right kid.
You do have to find the right kid.
Yes.
To play Matthew is I remember that show because there are not a lot of characters on TV.
He was a con man.
Matthew. He was a schemer. He was a scheming kid who didn't like his mom's new boyfriend, played by what's his name? David Garrison. So it was created by the people who would go on after this got canceled to create Married with Children.
And then a lot of money.
Yeah. And then David Garrison would star on that series for the first few seasons as Steve, next door neighbor. But yeah, on this, it was very fun, but it was short-lived. Anyway, It's Your Move because it was a game of chess, Eric, between the kid and the boyfriend.
Yes.
Who's the mom? I don't even remember. This was before. Do you remember how long? I had to remind myself a couple weeks ago how long the Hogan family ran for.
Many years, 8 seasons, I think, or something.
Yeah, that Jason Bateman was a part of. He's been acting for a long time. This is not a plug for Ozark's final season. Our way in a few weeks because I have not seen a lick of that show. But Morbius is now coming out in April, on April 1st. So just a few months, not too bad, but
it once again kind of makes, has theaters and, the movie business still struggle. It's okay, we've suddenly taken another sort of major piece off the board. And now Scream is the only real notable movie until Jackass, I guess, a week into February,
which itself is serving a delay sentence on its own right.
So that's had a ton of moves. Yeah.
So I feel long story short, 2022 is shaping up feeling a little bit like the beginning of 2020 because things are getting canceled and in-person things are shifting around.
Yep.
But all right, Morbius, not just yet, but this news just came in within the last 24 hours. The CW, which it was birthed in 2006, a combination of the WB and UPN networks between Viacom, CBS, and Warner Media, is now reportedly perhaps up for sale. They're considering selling the CW, which is home to the Arrowverse and Riverdale and now Walker. and other shows. that, I no longer watch anything on the CW, but it's still, as far as I could tell, one of the destination spots on the old dial.
Well, it is and it isn't. The interesting thing about the CW is because, you know, what came with
shows
this
do
was,
really well on Netflix.
right. Because what came with this was, you know, some mentions how like the CW as a network has never been profitable. And if you look at their actual like ratings, their shows always are like incredibly low rated. And Dynasty, they mentioned, is like the lowest rated show on television. And yet goes for several years. And it's like, and so some people were like quick to snark, like, "Oh, look, all their shows have always been bombs." It's like, no,
not at all.
No.
Like, first of all, the Arrowverse, like
their shows have made them a lot of money. When I say they, though, I mean Warner Brothers and Viacom, the owners, because it's basically the CW has been this farm where they put the shows out initially, but the real money's made from streaming rights and overseas international sales.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in this modern era, that's all shrinking because what do Viacom and Warner Media concentrating on now? Their own streaming services. And that's why a couple of years ago, they got rid of that hugely lucrative Netflix deal where every single CW show would move to Netflix just like a week after it finished.
Yeah, like it would right after the finale, it would show up a few days later on Netflix. Yeah. And
so now they don't do that anymore. And guess what? Warner Brothers produced shows end up on HBO Max and CBS shows end up on Paramount Plus. So it's just like it just makes sense in this day and age that these two big companies are like, we don't need the CW anymore, and it doesn't make sense to have it, to own it in the same way that we used to, because the way that we try to profit off these shows is so different. But it doesn't mean that those shows weren't making them a lot of money. And also I saw some people think that, oh, does this mean all the Arrowverse shows will switch to HBO Max now? And I was like, no, because the deals will still be in place. It's like when Disney owns The Simpsons and Family Guy now, but they still air on the Fox network. Like they still like have a deal.
Yeah, they're not
Fox
like
network,
a Disney Plus
own.
exclusive. Yeah.
Right. So they still have to honor those deals. And don't forget, it just gets so weird and convoluted. Everything I just said about the Netflix deal, it didn't change any show that originated before 2019. So new seasons, the current seasons of The Flash and Legends and Supergirl, which just ended, are still going to Netflix, because as long as those shows keep going, they still go to Netflix. That's part of the deal. So it's, they're
grandfathered in. They're part of the old deal.
Yeah, but it'll just be interesting to see. If someone buys it, I don't see how it would be very. I don't know what you do with the CW if you're not the co-owners of the studios that make the shows. But yeah,
I'll tell you what you do. You get Jason Bateman in there to produce a new version of It's Your Move.
That's what you do. Okay, I agree. Like he's playing himself. It's like about the making of a new It's Your Move.
Oh, you went like a behind the scenes, like
yes.
Jason Bateman's new nightmare.
Yeah, Jason Bateman's new move.
Or he's just like a decades later sequel that no one. Literally, this would be the only case where it'd be like, who asked for this? Like on the comment board, where the answer would be no one. Where it's like a decades later legacy sequel to It's Your Move, where he's just Matthew grown up.
I mean, it would be like, the dozens of us joke from another show he's on.
It would be, and it would be like he's the boyfriend now of someone he has to deal with. He has to deal with the kid, right? So that's how you do that. You flip it around. You flip it for real.
It used to be my move, but now it's your move.
It's our move. All right. Before we get into, I just had this idea. We would just pop off a few TV shows, our favorites of 2021. And then next week, we'll do our favorite movies of 2021. I do realize, though, that we have already spoken. We don't have to go on at length about this, because for many of for you and me, a lot of these are good things to enjoy picks. And we've just spoken about them in general. So, you up for that?
I'm up for it, except that I haven't thought about it, which means I'm going to blank on things that I absolutely wish I'd thought of. And then I'll be like, God damn it. But I guess if we're doing movies next week, I can always at the beginning say, hey.
Yeah. Just look, there's always going back. It's not like Jack Reacher's sequel. It's not like Never Go Back. It's what is it? Don't go back, never go back. I think whatever it is.
I don't recall.
Whatever Jack Reacher's credo is in the second movie. Okay, so my favorite show of last year was Midnight Mass, followed very, very, very closely by Only Murders in the Building. Both of those, I think you both loved as well. So again, there's going to be a lot of crossover too. And this, this is obvious, shouldn't need saying, but we will say it. These are the shows we've seen. I have not seen Squid Game.
So many shows. Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
So like that would probably
I've never seen Succession, so I can't.
Yeah, so Succession's on my list, but not on Eric's. The Great. You and I both love The Great.
Great is great.
You and I both love WandaVision. A show I absolutely love, but it's not finished yet, and probably would have ranked higher on my list if its full season had aired in 2021. Is Station 11. Which is an HBO Max original that Eric should definitely watch. I haven't seen the link. It's going on the list. But for any of you out there who loved The Leftovers, I highly recommend this show. Similar vibe, but starting with the season 2, season 3 vibe of Leftovers rather than the season 1 vibe. And so not surprisingly, also it's brought to the screen based on a book brought to the screen by one of the writers and producers of The Leftovers. Black Summer I loved, that was one of my good things to enjoy. Secession, Chucky, which we've talked about. We have a breakout episode about Chucky. The other two, which I already mentioned on this podcast.
Great show, which I realized I'd watched all of except the final 2 episodes. So over the holiday, that was one of my many things I was doing, was finishing that. Then
there's the Ted Lasso and Mayor of Easttown of it all, like the ones that everyone are on everyone's lists. Great shows I've already recommended, like Mr. In Between, Sex Education, The Witcher. That's on my top 20 list that I absolutely loved, and I caught up on both seasons over the break, which I don't know if you've mentioned it to me just in person or on the podcast or both, Eric, but yeah, the Saved by the Bell reboot, absolutely wonderful. 2 seasons on Peacock. And for those, it's meant for people who watch the original show or have like a general knowledge of the high points of that series, right, original 90s show, but also love 30 Rock. So it's like, because it's not like the old show at all.
A 30 Rock alum. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like 30 Rock. So that's why it's great. Cobra Kai, which I also super quickly binged, which snuck in right before the new year. Cobra Kai season 4, Girls 5 Ever I loved. Heels.
I'm currently watching Girls 5 Ever.
Heels I super enjoyed. I also watched Arcane, which I thought was pretty good. I would say I really loved about 50% of Arcane, and then there's 50% of it that I thought was just really boring, like storyline wise. The stuff between the two sisters is,
because most of my I haven't seen Arcane, but a lot of my Twitter feed is all about that Arcane life.
I mean, the animation is absolutely beautiful. The story between the sisters is wonderful. There's a lot of political mumbo jumbo bullshit that's going on in the city that's just a trudge. But yeah, also animation fans, you should check it out if you just like that too. Anyway, that's my stuff.
I mean, you mentioned a ton of stuff that I would also mention. I think my favorites of the year are Only Murders in the Building and WandaVision. Those are like the two that like really like just resonate with me the most. But Midnight Mass is right behind there. Yeah, I loved all 3 of those shows. They just like, they were my jam. Loved everything they were doing. I will just say in general, it was a funny thing that I thought about as I'm watching Girls 5 Eva, which I'm like halfway through the season and really liking, is that there's a lot of shows I enjoy right now that are like comedic and musically driven and have original funny songs each episode. And so I'll just group together Girls 5 Eva, Schmigadoon, and Central Park, all of which are funny shows with songs. If you like funny musical things.
Is Schmigadoon a show or a movie?
It's a show.
Oh, I thought it was a movie for some reason.
No, it's on Apple and it's a show, and it's Cicely Strong and why am I blanking on
Keegan-Michael Key?
Keegan-Michael Key. Yeah, yes. I feel really bad. I moderated a panel with him. But yes, 2 of them. That was a really fun show. I really like I do think Apple TV Plus happens to have a lot of strong stuff. I really dug Mythic Quest 2nd season.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched any of that. Yeah,
that was really cool. Like that show's interesting because it's like it kind of morphed into something different. It started as like a wacky workplace comedy, but as it went on, I won't say too much because I want Matt to watch it and I want everyone to watch it. It kind of morphs a little bit into what they're doing and what kind of the vibe of the show. And I think in season 2, they were just very, very strong.
What are they doing?
What are they doing? The Great is Great. I'm currently watching the second season. Sort of a slightly similar vibe, just because it's a period piece that purposely doesn't try to feel, that throws in contemporary stuff, is Dickinson. Although he actually even differently, because Dickinson gets like super contemporary with his language and references. So I really like the final season of that. And Ted Lasso second season was great. Cobra Kai's fourth season was great. The fact that they keep making that show as entertaining as it is amazing, when it could just feel like what the hell are you guys even doing here anymore? But keeps working. They figured out the secret sauce to doing that kind of show. All those things. And then I'll save the one other thing. I will make it, because I didn't think of a good thing to enjoy. I was coming in hot, guys. I was coming in late here. So I hadn't thought of a good thing to enjoy. So I'll just make it one of the shows I was about to mention that I just caught up on.
Okay. Cobra Kai is, I've been using this phrase a lot, describing things that have been coming out, but Cobra Kai is its own special sort of miracle in that there are so many episodes of Cobra Kai where I literally spend the whole episode going, what the fuck are you guys doing? You're so stupid. Like, everyone's doing something really stupid, and yet I love the show. Like, Daniel's being stupid, Johnny's being stupid. Everyone's just making the worst choices and not learning from a mistake like that they should have, and then they get me with something. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Oh yeah. It's undeniably cheesy
because it's so based on misunderstandings.
Right.
Like, it's so like driven by that, and normally that would suck, but somehow it doesn't with Cobra Kai.
That's the thing. The secret sauce that I mentioned, they make it somehow land, and they make it that suddenly it has a dramatic weight, even though it's like this huge suspension of disbelief you have to go along for it. I mean, like, I was reading an interview with Ralph Macchio about it's just like, of course there's this whole heightened thing to it, and like everyone is so obsessed with these goddamn Karate Kids, and this alternate version of the Valley where everyone knows karate at any point, but
that's what was missing from Licorice Pizza was
yes.
all Valley.
Well, it took place in 73, so they should.
I know. Actually, they would have still been fucking Vietnam POWs.
This karate thing's really taken off.
Yeah, it's like after his pinball arcade, he's like he gets into karate dojos.
Did you see? You retweeted someone's tweet about Terry Silver, Thomas Ian Griffith, and then I did my own tweet about that.
No, I don't want to look on your feed because you have Scream stuff.
Oh, okay. No, you were mentioning just like, because someone mentioned like kind of the mindfuck of the fact that Ralph Macchio is a few months older than Thomas Ian Griffith, who plays Terry Silver. And I just mentioned, like, it was always funny to me that he's supposed to be a contemporary of Kreese when he's not old enough to have fought in Vietnam. He was born in 62.
Right.
And so in Karate Kid 3, it's just this very funny thing that he's like supposed to be way older than he is, while Macchio is, of course, playing way younger than he is.
And it's that thing too where apparently did they change the love interest aspect in Karate Kid 3 because Macchio was 27 and she was an actual
that is the
actress?
rumor. That is the rumor, yeah, that because she was like 16 or 17 and they felt weird about it.
And he was almost 30, yeah. All right.
Yeah, that they decided that she would just be his buddy. Although it is weird that she, having just rewatched that movie, she just kind of vanishes. Like, she's like, okay, I'm going back to wherever I'm from, again, Ohio, wherever.
I mean, yeah. Well, because that was the other thing, is like she had a boyfriend back home apparently.
Yeah.
And so this off-screen boyfriend, who I don't know if it existed. I think she was just either making him up, or she was maybe she was gay. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think this boyfriend existed for whatever reason. She just did not want anything to do with Daniel.
Well, if she comes
that's
back,
okay. She doesn't owe him anything.
She doesn't owe him anything. She was just his pal. I was gonna say summer pal, but it was his fall pal, because it was
in the fall. Yeah, that's yeah. Everything gets brought up. I mean, literally in season 4, he mentions how he blew his savings on a bonsai tree store.
Yes. Oh yeah, every single event that has ever happened
in any Karate Kid movie is brought back on Cobra Kai, instantly redeeming said moment, if it was from a bad movie. So I have an email here, and you can write into us at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. It's from a few weeks ago. This is from Mark from Virginia. Happy New Year, Magnitude Eric. As you guys are going through the Scream rewatch, I was curious what you two thought of the Scream series that aired on MTV. Thank you for another year of recommendations of things to enjoy. Mark, I never watched a lick of that show. I don't know how much it took from it. I know that the killer looked different. I know that it was, all I know about it is that it was young people and it was like, who's the killer? There was a mystery slasher element to it. Right. I don't know anything else other than that.
I also didn't watch a lick of it. It just didn't feel like it was for me. And I know there was some stuff behind the scenes as far as like, you know, Williamson and Craven and not wanting their names on it and stuff. I also know that the third season was kind of its own sort of reboot, and that they did bring the movie mask in the third one. They paid the company that owns
They did.
Ghostface.
Oh, okay. Because I know it was like some like really bland, mime-ish, translucent white mask that was used for the killer. That was just very nondescript.
No, the third season, I'm double checking that I am right, brought in the movie mask and Roger Jackson as the voice of Ghostface. Its last grasp at trying to like capture the Scream audience. And here's a very meta thing they did. I'm reading that Tony Todd played Hookman.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. But this was like when MTV was trying. Obviously, they were done with music at this point still,
right?
But they were still trying to do shows. They had like Teen Wolf. They were doing CW style teen horror, and for all intents and purposes, everything I heard about Teen Wolf was pretty good. But now I don't think they have anything except ridiculousness airing in 24 hours.
And guess what? The Teen Wolf movie they're doing is for Paramount Plus, of course. Because it's like that's where anything that's like a value that was created for MTV is now, you know, the challenge, the real world reunion seasons is all on Paramount Plus.
Man, that I think
Beavis and Butthead
is truly the fire in which I burn. That's my time, right? Like the fact that MTV for you and me as young folk was so vital and so important and such a destination and such a thing we could leave on in the background. A place where we get news, the case where we would, and music introduced to new artists.
Rock the vote.
And TV, like when they started doing original TV programming and, the pioneers of reality television and stuff like that. Getting to the point now, and it's not even like an old thing because I keep up with television. I have no idea what airs on MTV dawn to dusk.
Right.
Like I have no idea what the programming is like. Like what fills those slots.
And the same with VH1, because I remember being amused because I did happen to see someone tweeted out, I think, about how they happened to go on VH1 and it was just some random movie that had no rhyme or reason, just a movie that Viacom has the rights to play. And it was just like,
was it Jack Reacher Never Go Back?
Probably, yeah. So it is very strange, like you said, that it was like such a crux of like pop culture and not for a short window. Like they managed to do that for like better part, I'd say 20 years, because TRL was like kind of another big boom for them. Maybe the last big one, although they still would have their Teen Mom shit after that. But yeah, just so strange that it was such a, sent the MTV generation, all this stuff. And then, it just has a brand. It's just so kind of whatever now. It just, there it is.
Nothing. You can't do anything. That's the answer to that. All right, let's talk about what we're going to be watching next week before we get into our good things to enjoy. Next week's main event is brought about for several reasons. It's going to be Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. This was originally came about when we were thinking of doing a Woody Harrelson block, the way we did a Kurt Russell block, and we still may do that. We don't know how this is going to connect to the following week.
There's a few actors in that movie that we could do a few weeks of. We're gonna or not.
Given that I just so severely hated Woody Harrelson and the entire movie of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and the fact that he was cast as Cletus Cassidy because of this movie, but this movie gets everything so right in a very specific way. Also, it's such a unique movie that no one's ever really tried to do anything like it since. It still stands alone as such a really unique time capsule. Side quest here too. Another reason is that I'm currently watching Yellow Jackets, catching up with it, I should say. Mm-hmm. And Juliette Lewis is on it, and she was super, blowing up right now in the 90s as well. So it's a huge movie for her, for Woody Harrelson, as he explored his range all over the place in movies after Cheers, after playing a lovable lunkhead on Cheers.
He did an impressive job of not being typecast.
Yeah, like we always talk about Johnny Depp as like, I don't want to be typecast as a pretty boy hunk. I'm going to do crazy things. Like I'm going to have a dead monkey for a hand and talk like this, like Woody Harrelson, though, didn't need like the goofy hair and the fake accents and stuff like that. But he really did do a lot of different things, like from People versus Larry Flint to White Man Can't Jump to this. Like he's all over the place, and he's still working his ass off today.
Yeah.
In huge franchise movie,
in a huge hit like Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
But I mean, like he's part of the Star Wars universe. He's in the Marvel. He's all over the place. All right, Natural Born Killers next week. So I don't even know we can watch that. I didn't look that up.
Oh, I'll look it up.
All right. While you do that, I'll just list off my good things to enjoy. My good thing to enjoy this week, and I'm keeping true to my word from last podcast, which was that it's based on your recommendation of The Middleman, which starred Natalie Morales. I give to you, everyone, another single season gem of a Natalie Morales sitcom show. Only lasted one season, but one network season, so it's 22 episodes. The Grinder from 2015, which I absolutely loved. Wish they had continued, and yet I am filled with that warm, tickly feeling of it only lasted a season, but it also kind of had an ending. Mm-hmm. So it's like it stands on its own. Could they have done more? Of course. Should they have? Yes, they should have, but they didn't. It's just not the way it worked out. Grinder was a Fox sitcom that starred Rob Lowe as an actor who played a lawyer on TV, a TV show. I always laugh at this. He played a character named Mitch Grinder.
That's right.
On a show called The Grinder. And it was like a TV show within a TV show parody of legal drama. And Rob Lowe's character, Dean, the actor, after he leaves his series, thinks he can be a real lawyer. And he actually comes from a family of lawyers. So his father has a law firm, and his brother, played by Fred Savage, is an actual attorney in the law firm. And in comes Rob Lowe as this very nice and cordial and kind, but also kind of pampered and narcissistic actor who thinks he can be a lawyer because he played one on TV. And it's him and Fred Savage butting heads and, making mirth for 21 to 24 minutes a week. And it was a lot of fun. And Natalie Morales was there. She was sort of an associate at the law firm, and who Dean starts to fancy. And she, in her very sardonic, funny way, rebuffs him at most every turn. But the standout, obviously, Rob Lowe is very funny in this. He's coming off of Parks and Rec, and is playing up sort of his golden retriever character from Parks and Rec in a very specific way. But the standout for me here was Fred Savage. Fred Savage as the straight man here.
Who was already very successful as a TV director and not acting much at this point. So it's interesting that he did another series.
Yeah, that he came in as a co-star of the series. Mm-hmm. His reactions are to me funnier than the shtick that Rob Lowe is doing most of the time. Fred Savage was absolutely killed it on this show. In what could have been the thankless role, the one, the guy who's just getting frustrated at his brother all the time, and also at his own family, who in their eyes, Rob Lowe's character can do no wrong. Like Dean can do no wrong, even though he is clearly always wrong. So it drives Fred Savage's character up the wall. And a lot of fun guest stars like Timothy Oliphant and Jason Alexander and Maya Rudolph and all that stuff. Maya Rudolph.
She's great.
Yes, I had no idea. This eluded me, Eric. For 20 years. Mm-hmm. that she has been in relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson for 20 years.
Her director from Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. Well,
Have
because
children
after
together.
I saw that movie, she was the one who stood out to me as like, oh, how would he know her? Everyone else,
He's
I was like,
sleeping with her.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everyone else, I was like, oh, they're the son of this person or the father of this person, and they're just live around the corner from him. And then there's Maya Rudolph, who almost is the most famous person in that movie, and then I look up and they've literally, because the last time I checked in on Paul on PTA, Eric, he was with Fiona Apple. I didn't think they were together still, but in my mind, the last time I cared about who he was dating was in the late 90s, and it was her. So I don't know who he was with since. But not only have they been together for 20 years, Eric, they have like 3 or 4 children together who are in the movie. So
all true. Yes.
All right. So my recommendation is The Grinder, and it's very hard to find.
It's not that hard. Well, here's the thing. The Grinder is exactly the same situation as Natural Born Killers, which is it's on Tubi, guys, with ads. Tubi, your destination for Grinder and The Grinder and Natural Born Killers.
At least The Grinder is made
a sitcom
with ads in mind.
Right. But yes, both these things, that's the only streaming platform, but both these things can be rent. Well, I don't know about Natural Born Killers. No, you can. You can rent, and I mean, Natural Born Killers you can rent or buy anywhere. And I do see The Grinder you can buy on Amazon and a couple other places.
I know. I just feel bad being like, this is great, everyone, buy it.
No, I know.
So
you can watch The Grinder on Tubi with ads. It's like TV, guys. And Natural Born Killer maybe you rent, but it's also on Tubi. Yeah, I liked the first couple episodes. I saw The Grinder. I didn't see more, but you and Steppenwall and a bunch of people I know and respect really dig it, and I know I should watch it at some point. Also, Matt, I very recently found out, as you're talking about Rob Lowe in this show, and having his character having played a lawyer.
He also date Maya Rudolph for 20 years?
No. Did you know anything about his show, The Lion's Den, and the insane way it ended? Because I didn't know anything about this till very recently.
The Lion's Den? Is that a recent show?
Nope. 2003. Starring Rob Lowe is the lead. Kyle Chandler, pre Friday Night Lights, is on it. David Krumholtz was on it. But
okay. You mean fake? Yeah, you mean fake Drew McIntyre?
Yes. If you guys don't know wrestling, it's a true thing. Anyway, it was an NBC legal drama, but it was also doing like an anti-hero thing where he's, Rob Lowe is the lead, playing he was not playing Jack Lyon. He's playing Jack Turner, who was a lawyer who had some dark secrets. And Kyle Chandler, I think, was some sort of investigative reporter who was tracking him. As we're watching him do court cases and all. Anyway, Elizabeth Mitchell was on that show too. Anyway, guys, I'm going to spoil the ending of The Lion's Den.
Okay, before you spoil the ending, his name was Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it called The Lion's Den with a Y?
I don't know. Some shit.
Who is Lion?
I don't know. Why not just call it Lion's Den, but spell it right if he's like a lion? I don't know.
Oh, okay. So the actual firm is actually Lions Lacrosse Living. Okay, I'm looking at it now. But still, that's dumb.
Okay. Oh yeah, Rip Torn was on too. So anyway, if this show, if it had gone on for years, it would have been, like The Blacklist. I'm sure. Like he's an anti-hero, but he does good stuff too, and we kind of learn more about him. Instead, the show was canceled a few weeks in. But there was contractual reasons they had to complete 13 episodes. So I think they were told at like 7 or 8, you're canceled, but you're still going to finish that 13 episode order because there's contractual obligations for like a DVD or overseas sales or whatnot. So just not knowing anything about this show except that basic setup. And then it was an NBC series in 2003. I love reading this ending. And I guess Rob Lowe has talked about this in interviews and stuff, which is that the last episode ended with Lowe's character, the lead, exposed as a serial killer by Kyle Chandler's character, and then Lowe kills Kyle Chandler's character and then jumps from the tower of his office, killing himself. Thank you for watching The Lion's Den.
I think the main event after Natural Born Killers needs to be the Lion's Den finale somehow.
I hope that it was such a swerve in that final episode that he's a serial killer. Like, it's just like, oh, he murdered like all of these people.
Oh my God.
So, but I love, because I love how like Felicity's final episodes are time travel because they had to do episodes they didn't plan on. I love when they're just like the fuck it of it all. When you
time travel like in Step 5.
Right. So the fact that they're like, you have to finish this show that's canceled, there'll be no future for it. And they're like, all right.
Who directed the finale? Jack Bender.
Did he?
Yes.
That's awesome. Oh yeah, he did. Child's Play 3's Jack Bender
and Lost. Yeah. Mostly Child's Play 3.
He worked with Elizabeth Mitchell before Lost there. Anyway, I love that, and you made me think of it.
I really need, if we can find it, we need to do it. Like, with no context for the rest of it.
It's pretty great.
Okay, that's a great story.
Yes.
We don't even let's end it here. That's pretty good.
That's my good thing to enjoy.
That is. That's a good thing for
I've never
everyone.
seen it, but it sounds pretty great.
Oh, the Wikipedia description is just as a good thing to enjoy all on its own.
Right. Anyway, my good thing to enjoy, I'll keep this brief, but as we're talking about things we loved, series this year is one that I just watched. It got plenty of acclaim when it aired, so many of you may have seen it, but maybe not all of you, but which is The White Lotus, which was the mini series, which will now be an anthology series because they did renew it for another year, that Mike White created. Mike White, previous part of one of my recommendations for good thing to enjoy, because he was on Survivor, David versus Goliath, his most notable credit. But besides being a huge reality TV show fan who just wants to go on these shows, and he does, he's a great writer, of course, and School of Rock being his most famous thing, but plenty of other stuff,
which he had a small role in,
which he had a small role in. But he also writes a lot of indie acclaim stuff. Why am I blanking on the name of his Laura Dern series he had done first? Enlightened, yeah, which I've never seen, which is very acclaimed, but I really liked. Is it The Good Girl with Jennifer Aniston? That movie he wrote.
Oh, I did see that. He wrote that. Okay, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was when she was trying to do indie fare in between Friends seasons.
But yeah, so I'll keep this brief because I think you either know or it's not too much to explain. But The White Lotus is a series about a resort in Hawaii, and very much kind of just a character study of these people staying there over a week. But it's also very much about the class system, because all the people staying there certainly have enough money to be at this nice resort in Hawaii, versus the staff working there. And it's a lot about sort of the power dynamics between those people, the relationships that are formed, and kind of how they work there. There is a light sort of mystery element, because the first episode, in the very first scene, we find out that someone has died. And Mike White has even kind of joked about he kind of felt like he needed some sort of hook there. It wasn't the crux of the show. I don't think anyone should approach this show as a whodunit or a it's not meant to be that. It's just an interesting kind of undercurrent that adds a little extra tension on a show that is certainly in the Mike White vein of most of his stuff, School of Rock being kind of an exception. Dramedy, there's a lot of very funny moments and laugh out loud moments, but then there's definitely a lot of sort of poignancy and observations about it. Cast is great. I
will tell you that the opening episode, because I've only seen the first episode, has full-on close-up Steve Zahn peen.
Well, it is a stunt peen. I don't want to.
Well, it's stunt balls, Eric.
Stunt balls. But yes,
not stunt Steve shaft.
He's like, my shaft. Think about how complicated that would have been to shoot. Anyway, Steve Zahn and Connie Britton, go there with their two kids and their daughter's friend. And then we've got Jake Lacey and Alessandra Daddario, his newlyweds, and Jennifer Coolidge, and a very wonderful performance as a woman who's there to scatter the ashes of her mother. It's just really great. I loved it. I kind of burnt through it over the holiday and thought it was really great. And I'm excited that they're going to make an anthology where they're just going to use the idea that there's other White Lotus locations they can go to. And the other thing about this show that is funny is a friend of mine good-naturedly bitched about this show, saying, God damn you, Mike White, for being so talented, because the behind the scenes of the show is it exists because HBO at the beginning of the pandemic went to Mike White because they just needed content. So many things were being shut down. It was so complicated to film things. And they said, Mike White, do you have something you can make for us at one location that, because that's so much more easier to control? And he's like, sure. And he just gives them this great show that he kind of came up with. It wasn't something he was working on beforehand, but he just okay, I can come up with something. Because then, of course, the whole cast and crew could stay at a hotel and keep it all controlled. So you talented motherfucker, you. It's a good show.
Go to jail. Mike White, is what we're saying. Straight to jail. All right. White Lotus. I like the first episode I saw. I have not. I do want to watch that.
He wrote and directed all 6, so this is
on the list.
It's all Mike White.
All Mike White, all the time.
All the time.
Next week's assignment is Natural Born Killers. Let's get into Scream 4, which I stated at the outset of this marathon is my second favorite Scream movie, even more than 2. Certainly more than 3, obviously.
And to me, it might have squeaked past 2 at this point. They're neck and neck for me. But I think 4 has really aged well over the past decade. And currently, it might be squeaking out over 2. I think they're both great sequels.
I'll give you a couple of, just very quickly, 2 of my main reasons. It's not my only reasons, but 2 of my main reasons why I love Scream 4. Scream 4 to me was nasty. Scream 4 was as violent as the first movie, and it made me feel like it was sort of the vicious again. I didn't feel that as much in Scream 2. I know it wasn't saturated or sanitized as much as Scream 3, but I didn't feel the sort of the there's still a meanness to Scream, which underneath the meta aspects and the horror comedy elements, there's still a very sinister part, which is why I think they work as horror movies that actually can scare you. Like, you're entertained the entire time, but there's those moments that really get you because it's nasty. I think Scream 4 brought the nastiness back. And also, Scream 4 to me has obviously nothing can, when we talked about Scream, how the first and final 10 minutes of that movie are amazing. And you can't find a movie that can entertain you at the beginning and end like that movie does. Scream 4, out of the franchise, the 4 movies so far, has the most entertaining final 10 minutes or 15 minutes since the first movie for me.
I agree with that for sure.
I love the ending of this movie, the reveal of the killer, the Fight Club fucking shit that goes on at the end, it's just amazing. And that's part of the nastiness too. And first of all, a guy gets shot like point blank in the dick in this movie.
And you love that.
I love that. Like, that's all you need in a movie for me. Like,
I love that for you.
That's why I love Smurfs too. Was because of that. Poor Nico Tortorella, who would go on to be in Kevin Williamson's The Following.
That's right.
As well as Walking Dead World Beyond, if anyone out there watched that or finished it, because I didn't, because it got boring. But anyway.
We should talk about how, this was Williamson's return after everything that happened with 3 and them ending up throwing out his story. He came back to write this, although...
and this is the funny part, Aaron Kruger, who wrote Scream
did
3,
the rewrites.
Rewrote it, and everything that I read about the rewrites rewrote it for the best, as far as I could tell. But yeah, so the two of them merged together.
I remember interviewing, because I did the junket for this movie, which was very exciting. But then it was actually kind of more interesting as I got to interview Craven when the Blu-ray came out, because that was like a 15-minute interview where we could go into spoilers. And I basically, I kind of talked to him a lot about how much Williamson did versus Kruger. And he basically was like, it's the story is all Williamson's. And definitely, I think the things we love the most at the beginning and the end are Williamson's, as far as like sort of the big standout sort of clever aspects. But it is funny that, I still don't quite know, like, Kruger was their backup guy, but I still feel like you feel Williamson's return big time here.
Yeah, everything really clicked for this movie for me. And whereas the first movie was, what it was, second movie was about the sequel, third movie was about the third movie in a trilogy, this was about remakes. And I'll open this discussion and then invite Eric to not chime in at all, which is that Scream 4 came out in 2011, and you and I, Eric, were talking before we hit record about how Williamson and Craven came back. Craven came back because he's like, if we can get a good script, if there's a reason to return to Scream, and Williamson can write it.
Because this is 11 years after Scream 3.
Yeah, this is a long stretch. And we'll get into that too, because it's like, who thought we'd ever hear this people in the Scream movie talk about the Saw movies, or things that we talk about today, like Facebook and Twitter, they're actively talking about in a Scream movie. And so my curiosity, and I'm not going to try to predict what's going on in Scream 22, is like, what is the new thing now, going a decade later after Scream 4? What is the new hook? What is the new thing? Because Scream 4 addresses so much of it, which is to say, you could run Scream 4 right now, and most of this movie would still play.
If it came out as a new movie.
If it came out as if they waited 20 years instead of 10, and it came out now, there's a lot of this movie, except for the fact that this movie was following, as we've talked about in some of our horror recaps, the aughts were a huge decade for remakes.
The two things that the aughts were huge for, which of course get addressed in this movie, were Saw and the torture porn stuff, and the remakes. When Kirby
literally just rattles off a bunch of remakes at the end of this
movie.
Which
all came out in between Scream 3 and 4. That is a very funny, it's a great moment. And it's also says so much that in that 11-year gap, all those movies got remade.
And, but the social media aspect, the killer at the end, obviously we're full spoilers for Scream 4. Yeah. Jill revealed as the killer at the end. I don't need friends. I need fans. What am I going to do? Go to college? Am I going to work? I just want to be famous, insta famous. I want to be, all of that stuff still holds true 10 years later into social media.
One might say even more.
Yes. Right. Like so much of this still plays well that it has me even more curious for the new Scream, because it feels like the now social media commentary was already kind of asked and answered in Scream 4. So that's why I'm really excited about what quote unquote new things are being brought to the table with the new Scream movie. Again, thinking that there has to be a really good reason for this franchise to return. I think you pointed out on Twitter, no red right hand in this movie.
Yes.
Although
it infuriates me about this otherwise great.
Because there's one part of this movie where it would play perfectly, and that's at the Stabathon. Because in universe, in the Stab movies, the movie within the movie, Red Right Hand was the music for that franchise, right? So what they should have been blasting it at the Stabathon in the barn, but it didn't happen.
I always have to make your litmus test on Twitter about how things will play, and will people not think something is funny, because because there's some talk about there might have been like a weird holdup on the fourth one where there was something with like the copyright of that song that made it for some reason tricky in 2011 in a way it hadn't been earlier. And I was going to just be like, say something about like, they should have done whatever they needed to do, just pay whatever they did. And the fact that the Weinsteins didn't is the worst thing they've ever done. It's not
that would have.
But then I knew that joke would not. But for you, the We Enjoy audience, you get it, right?
And they're still like, boo.
I don't actually think is the thing. It's the worst thing.
But you tweeted it.
That's right. So we should talk, obviously, the Scream, so much attention gets paid to the opening and the ending. And then this movie has this triple opening, which I think is great.
So I do think it's great. I think it's silly, but I think it's really funny. And also, like you said, this is a full decade after the first movie, or or 11 years after Scream 3, to the point where the stars that they get to bring into this movie are still stars who do things today. Like not just the high school cast, like Emma Roberts and some of the other people, but like the fact that Kirsten Bell and Anna Paquin are like part, the celebrities who pop up to get killed in the first, or to sort of not get, I guess Kirsten Bell doesn't get killed, but you know what I mean? Like that Kirsten Bell is in a Scream movie is crazy. And I don't know. It's just funny. Like the time passed that I'm sure I'll be thinking the same thing when I see the new Scream and they're talking about things of the now and showing things.
Well, they do an interesting thing of that Anna Paquin and Kristen Bell were already like a bigger caliber of star than the actresses that are before and after them, which is only to say that those actresses are very Scream series actors, in that the WB was no more, but they're actors who all were on teen shows at the time. Shania Grimes was on 90210, the reboot 90210. Britt Robertson was on Life Unexpected.
Lucy Hale,
Pretty Little Liars, and Britt Robertson. I'm sorry, I already mentioned Britt Robertson.
Amy Teagarden.
was Friday Night Lights, a great show that Matt should one day watch.
And Britt Robertson was on Under the Dome, a show Eric should one day watch, just because.
Because it's just as great. And he'll stand by that. So, it was just kind of funny to see that evolution. And you're right. Yeah, it's certainly wacky and elevated, but I do think it's really fun. And also what I like about it, rewatching it, is I'm like, a lot of the things they do are genuinely feel like, because that's what it's supposed to do, is play with your expectations. Is, this is a fun twist on the formula, which is to say the first opening, if they had revealed there were 2 killers right away, because in that opening, it's like they're unequivocally.
So that was Stab 6. And
yes.
Apparently in Stab 6 in this movie series, which after the third movie, we don't know what that third movie wound up being.
We don't know how they fucking finished it, because
they had to have started.
No,
they had to have started over from the beginning.
They had to have started over from the beginning.
By the way,
died.
When we watched Scream 3, we were like, "What is this movie about?" Because there's been no third series of killing. Yeah. Sorry. No, when we watched Scream 3, we didn't know what Stab 3 was about. They were making it,
right,
but there was nothing to base it on at that point.
Right.
We didn't know what movie Roman was making.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, after Roman's dead, the entire cast is dead, production's halted, they could go back to production with Scream 3, based it on the tragedy of Stab 3. Or Stab 3 is now Stab 3. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Now it's based on that.
I mean, if this movie series in universe is so shamelessly using real events, why not? Yeah.
Because this movie clearly they state in this movie that the first 3 were based on real events, and then she sued and they had to make things up after the third stab.
Right.
So Stab 3 still must have been about what happened in Hollywood
right.
when everyone got killed on Stab 3.
Must have been pretty grim for the new cast.
I'll say this would have been my favorite thing if it is truly revealed that there was never a Stab 6, and that all that exists of Stab 6 is the opening, and that audiences flocked to Stab 6 and they were really seeing Stab 7.
That would be amazing. But yeah, so the first one has the, like, if you were doing a genuine like twist in the formula, has, we're going to show you 2 killers from the very beginning. Maybe there are more than 2 if we're showing you that. And then the second one has, Kristen Bell just murdering Anna Paquin, which again would be a fun twist on the formula. Which
is that you know who the killer is right away.
Right. If she's just revealed.
And Stab 5, played with conventions because it had time travel. Now I wish Saw 5 had time travel.
Right.
You know what? The Saw movies did kind of have time travel.
In a way, yes.
Also, the dig at torture porn in the Saw movies, like Saw 4, which is not a bad Saw movie, became from Williamson's own disdain of the Saw franchise. Like, he did not like the Saw franchise, and those lines were like directly from like him thinking no, you don't care about anyone in the movies, and it's just like blood for the sake of blood, and he wants to make movies where you care about who dies and stuff like that.
It also goes to show you, by the way, I was thinking how again 11 years is a long time for pop culture, so it's like even Kristen Bell's line about it's not aliens or zombies or little Asian ghost girls. I'm like, oh yeah, because the little Asian ghost girl,
J horror,
had come and gone as a thing for America since Saw 3. The Ring and The Grudge had happened post Saw 3.
I think it would be great, and this has nothing to do with you having actually seen the new movie, but like when the new movie plays at Alamo. For those who haven't been to an Alamo Draft House, they usually have a funny stinger before the movie about don't talk, because they have a strict no talking policy. It's usually a clip from the movie. Sometimes they actually have some stars from the movie actually film something separate,
right?
Being like, hey, don't talk. I think it'd be great before the new Scream movie if they play the scene from Scream 4 where she stabs her and says, now shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
That would be great. And then when poor Amy Teagarden, Coach Taylor's daughter Julie, when poor Amy Teagarden gets killed, they do obviously a bit of a callback to Tatum's death because a garage door is involved, just in a different way. What happens to her with the garage door,
and they try so. As a remake, as the killers in this movie are trying to remake Scream, like there's also for us the meta aspect, the remake elements, which is like Amy Teagarden objecting to the fact that it's like you're just some big titted like dummy, and she's like, I have a 4.0 GPA,
right.
Bumping against convention there. But again, Facebook mentioned, Twitter mentioned, all this stuff still exists in huge ways today. It's nothing. I would say in the past 10 years, new things came in. Most things came in and went though. Like Instagram stayed. Other things came and went though. Facebook and Twitter are still the dominant things. So again, these lines still work in 2022.
100%. Yeah. Far
cry from what are you doing with a cellular telephone, Billy Loomis and Scream. Now they're just, everyone's on their cell phone. You're talking about blocking people. There's a point where two girls are on the phone at once talking to two different people, but then also talking to each other. There's a scene where like an entire class gets cell phone alerts about a murder and they get up and leave. Like everyone's phone starts ringing. Times they are changing, and it is singularly reflected in the Scream movies.
Yeah. And because they already have smartphones in this movie, but it's not like we have evolved beyond smartphones in 11 years later. So yeah.
So many things still work. Live web streaming, like what the dude is doing. Robbie, what's his name? Hall Pass with Robbie Mercer.
Hall Pass.
And let's see. Okay, so
Scott Pilgrim's Eric Ness.
So we finally get after 3 murders, we finally get 2 real murders in Britt Robertson's Marnie and Amy Teagarden's Jenny. They get murdered in their home right on the eve of Sidney Prescott returning to Woodsboro. So this movie returns to Woodsboro, gives us the legacy characters, the 3 survivors, and a new crop of high school students. So already it's the most like the first movie as we've gotten so far, because the second one had college students, the third one didn't have any students, so it was all grown-ups.
And we know Williamson's original concept for 3 was back in Woodsboro, back at the high school, although they were making Stab 3. So that part's gone. They're not making a Stab movie, but he still went back to Woodsboro. He still did stuff he was going to do for Scream 3.
And Sydney's on a book tour, having written a book called Out of the Darkness. Seems like she's in a much better place. And, we don't think anything terrible happened since the end of Scream 3, when she seemed to be happy and like she didn't lock the door and left her gate wide open. So she's good. She's got let's talk about the cast here. Alison Brie, these are people who obviously still act today, but were like, pretty big, but also kind of niche at the time. Big and niche.
Right, because she was on Community, which was a cult series. Yeah.
And
we talked to her about this movie when she was on Channel Surfing.
She was on Channel Surfing. I'll tell you who I loved in this movie, besides Emma Roberts, who, following this, would go on to become a super Scream Queen on a show called Scream Queens, but also as part of Ryan Murphy's American Horror Story universe.
Yes.
Where she would, some say, perfect her mean girl vibe that she started at the end of this movie. Emma Roberts, I don't know if I'd seen her in anything before this. Maybe.
I was aware of her because she'd done the
Mermaid movie. Didn't she do the Mermaid movie? What was that?
Aquamarine. She'd done a Nancy Drew movie. So I remember that she had done a Nancy Drew movie, and I remember she'd done Hotel for Dogs. And, of course, she got...
I don't think I'd seen any of them, though.
I hadn't seen them either. And, of course, and we can talk about the meta casting here, because no offense to Eric Roberts, who had his own acclaimed career, but, the bigger deal for the media is she was the niece of Julia Roberts, right? Megastar.
She's playing Jill Roberts.
Playing Jill Roberts, the niece of someone famous. So there is a funny sort of aspect to that about her trying to establish herself in the shadow of a very famous aunt.
If any of the previous 3 Scream movies, they mentioned Julia Roberts as one of their pop culture throwaways. I'm trying to remember. All that springs to mind is J. Jonah Jameson going, "We can get pictures of Julia Roberts in a thong. Certainly we can get a picture of this one."
But that was not in Scream 2.
No, it's not, sadly. Emma Roberts is great. The one who really is great for me in this movie, the standout, especially her death at the end, is Hayden Panettiere.
I was hoping you'd say that. Yeah, she's a fan favorite, and she is great in this movie.
She is great. She's just like, you don't get a lot of time with these characters, so you have to make, you have to be charismatic enough to like make your character pop with a very few lines, and she's great. We already liked her from Heroes and other things, and she had like quote unquote geek credit at the time because she was in genre stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because she's one of those actresses, who was hot for a while, and you're like, what happened to them? And then you're like, oh yeah, they did over 100 episodes of a TV show that only moms watched
with Connie Britton, who's in
with Connie Britton. Yeah. So it's kind of like,
and the Lotus.
They just don't do genre TV shows anymore. They do shows
they're not
about
on our
country
radar
music.
Much. Yeah.
She was on Nashville for many.
Although our old IGN compatriot Greg Miller loved Nashville and wanted to write he kept offering to write about it for IGN.
I thought you said he wanted to write a spec script of Nashville.
No, he just wanted to cover Nashville for IGN.
Why didn't we let him?
I asked him at some point, and then it just didn't work out timing-wise. But
that's bullshit.
He had to cover video games, and then he had to go create a very successful YouTube channel. So it never happened.
He had other things to do besides write weekly reviews of Nashville.
He just came to me. He just was like, "I got some Nashville content for you."
All right, she's so good, and that moment at the end when it's like back at the beginning of the first Scream movie, where the least famous Culkin right now, Rory Culkin, is tied to the chair as Charlie, and they're doing the quizzing because let's remember that since the first movie, these Ghostface killers. Oh, and there's a Ghostface voice app, by the way. So there's a Roger L. Jackson sounding app you can get for your phone.
Right.
The killers weren't quizzing people about horror movies. Only Billy and Stu weren't.
Yeah, very little. Yeah,
because. Yeah, like they weren't doing that. Anybody who was mimicking them only really had cursory knowledge of what Billy and Stu were saying to the people on the phone.
Right.
Like nobody knew what they were talking to Casey. What was that? Drew Barrymore's characters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nobody knew what they were really saying to her on the phone. Like,
right.
And the people who live in the Scream universe, they know that they killed her, but they don't know what the dialogue was.
Right.
So yeah, none of them were like quizzing them about like killers' weapons or sequels or this or that, or like bringing up like Peeping Tom from 1960 or something like that. So this was like taking us all the way back to the beginning, and Hayden Panettiere is great in this scene, and the kill is such a shock and a betrayal and well done. And then my God, like Charlie's whole like, oh, you notice me now? Like he's such a fucking like incel troll dipshit, like quote unquote nice guy that like is such like a smarmy vile villain that like we've come to recognize as sort of just an internet plague. Anyway, she's really great in this.
She's great in it, and I think it's a testament to her being great in it. That it's like people were really bummed by her being killed. We never really talked about. I realized how upset fans were by Randy being killed. I remember being at Comic-Con the summer after, and people being like, "Why did you kill Randy?" at a Kevin Williamson Q&A, and they joke about it in Scream 3 about like how fans were upset, and that's why they put basically a substitute character in. But I feel like Kirby is probably like after Randy the death that has upset people the most. And again, like you said, you only have a few scenes to kind of make an impact in these movies. When there's so much moving parts. Good for her for doing so.
All right, Sydney's in town. The people are decorating things with Ghostface. Woodsboro is obviously now infamous. But
no mention of Sydney's dad. So either he died or he moved away because he was in.
Well, we already know he was super wealthy and probably working for the mafia, as you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was a cleaner.
So he probably was. Just I don't know. He probably went to WITSET. He went federal witness relocation to testify against his mafia bosses. Two people are murdered. Bloody knife is placed in Sydney's trunk, but we learn that, and you know what? They kind of just give us Dewey and Gale. Like the second and third movie, like take their time, like with these very drawn out sentimental like entrances, like especially for Dewey. It's like he's back and here's Dewey's theme, and now it's just like, no, let's just get to it. He's sheriff. He wakes up to Axel F in the morning, and Gail is next to him, and they have been living an actual married life
in Woodsboro
for many years. When Woodsboro, he realizes it's been hard on Gail. She's trying to make a go of it as a fiction writer. Now that there's no more true crime I don't know why she can't just still be a true crime writer. It doesn't have to be about.
That is today she could be a true crime podcaster.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And then we got Deputy Judy, played by Marley Shelton, who is famous heading into Scream 22 as the first, character really to survive and return to a Scream movie since these original three.
No character who's been introduced in a sequel has come back. So the fact that she's coming back and she has her own character poster, it's like good for and
Judy they play her up too in a good comical way, but also as a good red herring, standing in the
when she's all creepy with Sydney talking about how she they were in theater together in high school.
Yeah, and and also because she's obsessively sort of like hitting on Dewey, and so there's baked in craziness that works and plays off, but also works as sort of a hero at the end too. Deputy Judy Hicks and her lemon squares that taste like ass. Look, she's flirting with them. Maybe they taste like her ass. Maybe it's purposeful. Maybe she wanted them.
But Dewey says that's not true.
I know. Courtney Cox. So Gail basically tries to, she gets a taste of the old Ghostface Stabathon again when murders happen, and she's like, I could be a reporter again, and tries to go out on her own. She tries to pair up with. There's a few Randys in this movie because you've got Charlie, you've got Robbie, and you've got Kirby.
Yeah.
So maybe it speaks to the generation at the time of just being more genre movie savvy.
And the rise of the geek that it's not just like the geeky guy in high school when there's a bunch of people or the geeky person, which it tracks, and it's only gotten further into this the next decade.
Nico Tortorella's character is interesting. Trevor, the boyfriend, who almost looks like the parody boyfriend from Scary Movie, with his hair. Chris Evans, was that Chris Evans?
No, Chris Evans was in Not Another Teen Movie.
He was in Not Another Teen Movie. Who was the boyfriend in Scary Movie? Anyway, it looked like the fake Billy from Scary Movie. Looks like a Billy Loomis. He acts. All of his actions are red herring moves. Nothing about him is at all appealing because he's cheating on her. He's intrusive. He doesn't respect boundaries. And so there's nothing there that he's so much of a red herring that he can't be. There's, while Kirby sort of pops, he's sort of he doesn't really get to because he's just there to be kind of a shit that who Jill avoids phone calls from for the whole movie. So, but the payoff again in the final parts of this movie, with him in the closet all tied up like Sydney's dad, and he's being framed for the murder. Again, can't forget the dick shot.
Right.
When Jill reveals herself to be the true psycho, and literally is framing him because he did cheat, and it's I'm not the one you cheat on, and this is so great. The ending's so great. Let's see. Robbie's filming everything, which we just came out of a decade of movies, of found footage movies where there's always a character filming things. So
yes,
they have to. It's usually a stretch to try to believe that someone won't put down that camera when scary shit's going on. But here you go. Robbie's got his headgear that film stuff. You've got Dewey's other deputies, the very entertainingly named Anthony Perkins, played by Anthony Anderson. And Adam Brody plays a character named, and you don't know this in the movie.
Yeah.
His name is Deputy Haas, but his name is Ross Haas. So
yes, I think they're obviously they're innately amusing actors to see. I think it's a little distracting because it's at the time they were already pretty damn famous. but they're basically there's a comic relief. It almost feels like they're a little too famous for these roles unless they are going to be more important. But it's fine for what they do because they have some fun little bits. I will say Mary McDonnell is horribly wasted as Jill's mom. It's so strange because she's coming off Battlestar here, and it's just like she's got nothing to do.
Also, horribly wasted, horrible character too, as Maureen's sister, who the night after two girls are murdered, she's just out at her friend's house and leaves Jill with Kirby. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like when they're watching Olivia get killed. Great sequence as far as like watching across the closet across the house across the way. Sydney running over there and literally just confronting Ghostface like that. Like it all works really well. But Mary McDonnell's character was just out, like no thought of like staying home and looking after her daughter after two girls are murdered.
Two of her classmates are murdered. Yeah.
And then the next night she went out shopping and she's like, she said it's like stress relief. Again, just can't stay in the house, this woman. So agreed, wasted though. Let's see. And we've got I don't think Olivia wasn't played by anyone super notable.
No. Although around Olivia's death, of course, obviously these movies have to be tricky with, trying to throw you off the scent. And, first of all, of course, Jill gets one of the phone calls. Like Kirby says, I got a phone call. And then Jill gets a phone call on screen from Ghostface. But then, again, the fun things when you go back after the ending, it's like after Olivia is killed, very, very gorily, her guts are ripped out everywhere. When Ghostface talks to Sydney, he says to her, you think you're still the star, which of course, we'll learn later, like contextually what that is all about like someone trying to like replace her. Also, that's just kind of fun because, Nev Campbell is in a lot more of this movie than Scream 3, but it's about someone like literally trying to usurp her.
And it's funny, and the movie doesn't end with her.
No,
you know what I mean? Like we don't really get a good follow-up for Sid here, like how she's living life after all of this, but like it ends with like dead Jill and the really great juxtaposition scene of like dead Jill and after revealing herself to be this crazed killer and the media outside just still praising her as a surviving hero, right. Not knowing who she really was. It kind of reminded me of the really, really morbid WWE Raw that praised and honored Chris Benoit before knowing the full circumstances of his family's death. You
might be the first person to make that comparison, but
that's what it reminded me of. It was like, man, let's see. Sid's not the star here, but so Sid is connected to all of this. Obviously, Dewey's the town sheriff, so he's connected to everything in this town. Sid's connection is, I don't think we actually mentioned this, Jill is her cousin. So we mentioned that her mom's Maureen's sister. I said
aunt, but yeah, cousin.
She's her cousin, and so Jill is being told by Kirby and Olivia like that Sid's angel of death, and really sort of brings up. They start hammering home. Jill's not saying it, but they're saying like everyone around her dies. Her skill is surviving. What does she do except get everyone around her dead? And she squeaks forward. And this also feeds into the final beats of this movie as far as like what Jill's plans are. And God, I really just want to talk about the final 10 minutes of this movie. But everything plays out over 3 nights, just like the first movie with Stabathon. And here and there you get new things about remakes. You have to outdo the original. You have to like bend conventions. Sid and Gail go to like that cinema club at school, which I believe was also part of Kevin Williamson's sort of idea for Scream 3 back in the day.
Yes.
And they talk about what could be happening, and like you have to go basically play off the audience's expectations and almost do the opposite of what you're supposed to do. And when things don't end at the Stabathon party, I can't remember which character says it, but they're like, yeah, the party is what ended the first movie. So it's the fake ending to this movie.
Right.
And so the meta, I did very, very much enjoy the scene where like Dewey's like it says meta and Gail's like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. Or I think it's the other way around actually. Gail says meta and Dewey's like, what is that?
Dewey
like,
doesn't know the word. Yeah.
But Gail didn't either. She's like, I don't know. I heard them say it. Like,
right. Yeah, that was very funny.
Saying what meta is as they go to the Stabathon. And by the way, Eric, the crowd of teenagers watching Stab is just as rowdy and awful as the crowd that watched the premiere of Stab.
They are. All I'll say is that I still think it's a little too much, especially because if they're going to watch 7 Stab movies, you got to pace yourself, get kids. But also, I will allow it more at a party than actually opening night of the movie. Like,
well, you know, to be and in their defense, they've seen it. They could quote they all quote the movie.
Yeah,
they're saying the lines along with the
it. And they actually say a line I called out as one of my favorite lines. I don't even know you, but I just like you already, which they clearly liked behind the scenes because they included it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but did they have the Robert Rodriguez credit on screen in Scream 2 for Stab? Or was that
I don't
new?
remember. Yeah.
Someone might tell me I'm totally wrong and I'm misremembering this, but I remember it being in the script, but maybe not in the movie, but then they put it back in here that, which of course has its own meta level because as we mentioned, Rodriguez directed The Faculty, which Kevin Williamson wrote, which literally was put in the Scream slot when Scream 3 wasn't coming out after the year after Scream 2. So on top of it there, you've got the extra meta, Matt, extra meta.
Too much meta on meta here. But this is almost like the first time. It's not quite the first time because Sid walked around the Hollywood movie set of her childhood home in Scream 3, which was probably the first time for her as a character, Sidney Prescott in the Scream universe, doing something meta, like in her own right. But now we've got Dewey, Sidney, and Gail feeling meta in the midst of this Stabathon as people are being killed in Woodsboro. So now they're experiencing it the way that we experience things. And Gail actually gets stabbed. Still surprising, considering, I don't know, I think, okay, was there a plan at this point with Scream 4 to do a new trilogy? Or was this like a one-off?
Yes,
right? There was a new trilogy.
There was a plan to do a new trilogy, but you know, everyone was asking, you know, look, we've been asking this, especially since Scream 3, like, will they kill any of the original trio at this point?
Yeah, so it was surprising that they didn't, and also added another survivor. So like, they just keep adding to the living.
Right. The idea that it was a new, going to be a trilogy. There's something I just recently read that we'll talk about when we get to the ending about that. It was interesting. We kind of skipped over Alison Brie's death. A fun role for her. You know, a couple kind of big scenes for her. Fuck Me Wow, of course, is great, and also. The aspect of, you know, because we've talked about Sydney is the hero of this series, but there's also obviously innately a very sad thing about her that the movies embrace, which is like, oh my God, like horrible things have happened to her over and over again. And so I liked when Rebecca is like, you're a victim for life, so embrace it, use it, that she just wants to capitalize on Sydney, the victim, while the angel of death thing is the kid saying, like, everywhere she goes, people die. And as we were mentioning before we started recording, that very few things date this movie. But one thing that does is there's a mention of the Wii Fit. I thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, that would not play today.
No.
Everything else will. I do agree that the death of the cops outside, who are terrible cops, by the way.
Yes.
Like when Olivia gets killed and like they're not in the car, Sydney runs out and they're not there to help her, and she has to go confront Ghostface herself. And like when it's like, sorry, Dewey, we saw him running, like creeping around a house down the block, so we went there, and they're literally like, Olivia's torn to pieces, and they're like, we feel awful about it. And Dewey's like, all right, guys, get out of here. And I'm like, hey, this is terrible. Like,
at least Judy's trying. And then another kind of,
but yeah, their deaths are fun, but also like stand out in this movie as like, you know, the fuck Bruce Willis line it's the most Scream 3 feeling part of this movie.
It's a little weird because his death until that moment is one of the more horrible because he's stabbed directly in the head and then has this like moments of stumbling around. So it's kind of like awful, like, oh, these are his ghastly final moments, but then they throw in this kind of, this wacky, I agree, it's a Scream 3 type gag with what he says there. Also, we should mention before we go into the ending, which I'm also dying to talk about, but another kind of interesting scene, and of course in retrospect, is Jill asking Sydney, like, how do you handle the attention, people staring, which of course is given a retroactive, like, it's more like, because I wish that were me, versus the way she's trying to make it sound, which is, oh, that must be too much.
So going back through this, when you rewatch it, knowing who the killer is, it's like you're trying to look for those tells. That's one of them, like, but there's not really anything super obvious, because Emma Roberts and the movie do such a good job of like really making you believe that Jill is this earnest, sort of straight-laced plain Jane character who could be the center of a horror movie. Nothing is absolutely spectacular or about, you know what I mean? Like, she's very in middle road, like horror hero. Yeah. And
I just had to throw in
one red flag, maybe, that in Year of Our Lord 2011, she has a like a U2 poster in her room. I didn't understand that, but I was like, this person is clearly unhinged.
She's, she was just passed on. For her mom was a big YouTube fan. She was too. I completely randomly, but I forgot.
It would be funny if it was a Creed poster, but yeah.
Just like my cousin.
She's a Stab 3.
In Stab 3, because Stab 3, ruined Sydney's reputation by saying she was a Creed fan. When I was mentioning Ghostface, the stuff about the I dislike you already, but a Ghostface specific line, because that was said by Heather Graham, that makes me laugh a lot, which is just when he goes, "This is not fucking Trevor." Like, he seems really like annoyed that they keep calling him Trevor. But, I should say she. We don't know. Actually, no, that had to have been the what's his face, because I think Jill's in that scene, so that couldn't have been Charlie.
So the end here, where the reveal that Charlie's killer when he kills Kirby, God, such a great scene. Then the 1-2 punch of Jill stabbing Sid and revealing who she is and what she's all about, and the fact that, like, you don't need like hints or drops beforehand. Like, you mentioned a few lines that like play differently knowing who Jill is at the end, but like you don't need anything like going like, oh yeah, she did this, because Jill's turn is just as big as like, it's just like, oh, I'm not who I was pretending to be at all. Like, I am just a completely different person. I am a absolutely awful super bitch murdering and my mother, you know what I mean? Like, I am absolutely ruthless and devoid of all humanity. I am the complete opposite of who I've been portraying. And that's not like, so there's no subtle shift here. It is a complete 180, and it works so well because Emma Roberts great in this role. And like everything that, and all of a sudden with this move, because up until this point, you're like, okay, they're playing around with remakes. I get it. But it's not until this move where she's like, I'm the new Sydney, that it really clicks. The remake element clicks here when she's like, I'm here to replace Sydney as the new celebrated survivor. And not just like, and so much so I'm going to kill Sydney too. Like, I need to kill so I could be the only focus of attention. I can't just be the new Sydney or another Sydney. I need to be the only, all eyes on me, right? And then, she convinces Charlie that they're supposed to be like Billy and Stu, but really she wants to be Sydney. She doesn't want to be Billy. She wants to be wants to be Sydney. So everything works here on such fun levels. And
also, I just want to mention that it also worked the extra meta real life level of this movie. They're making a Scream for 11 years later. And when we hear the casting and that Emma Roberts will be one of the leads as Sydney's cousin, the expectation is, oh, she'll take over the series. Whether they kill Sydney or not, they're just like, we need a hot young girl. Nev Campbell's too old. This is the perception a lot of us going into
this. Well, and also if we're going into this with rumors of a new trilogy, right?
Right. So there's a lot of expectation that like, oh, this is really going to be Emma Roberts' series now. And that, okay, so she's kind of taken over as the lead, which is why it's both fun to have her turn out to be the killer, and then also this extra thing of making that like a reality for her as a character. I'm going to take over. That is literally what she's trying to do in the film.
By the way, I do agree with Jill. College is a sham. You know what I mean? It's all, like take the shortcuts where you can, like do it.
I also want to say, by the way, you mentioned at the top a very notable line from this movie, of course, which is "I don't need friends, I need fans." When I mentioned this, I know in passing weeks ago, but when I went to the marathon of all 4 Screams a few months ago at the New Bev, how well Scream 4 played, and really kind of speaking to it being a really fun movie, but also how it's aged really well and it has its own fan base. I think especially when it opened, because this movie didn't do very well. It was a big box office disappointment and wasn't that well reviewed or anything. But people have really kind of taken to it. And the audience was way more engaged in Scream 3, which, not only is the weakest, but also you're just going to get tired watching a bunch of movies. Even though it was like 2 a.m. watching the ending of this movie. And there were some people, and sometimes I'd be annoyed, but I wasn't at 2 a.m. watching this movie. A bunch of people yelled with her, "I don't need friends, I need fans." Like that was like a Rocky Horror or Stabathon moment for that audience, waiting for her to say that.
So good. And again,
yes.
could play just as well today. I don't know. It certainly, my God, it certainly felt like it evoked Fight Club, the scene in Fight Club where
and then this amazingness,
where
Emma Roberts, being Emma Roberts is, little Emma Roberts doing this.
Little Emma Roberts doing this, like not only, scratching her face with Trevor's hand, making his hand pull her hair out, stabbing herself.
The keeps and the knife at the door frame. Yeah.
But specifically the smashing her face into the picture frame and then falling through the glass table was so Fight Clubby, like especially the glass table part. That it's like the psychotic commitment to this is admirable. It's great. Like,
it's awesome.
It helps sell it so much. And then the way she like really in a warped childlike way mirrors Sid's death pose on the floor as like this reflection of her is like just absolutely astonishing. I love it.
No, the back-to-back of her speech, the reveal, her talking about why she's doing it, and then her beating the fucking shit out of herself, and how it's just great. Yeah, and especially because I don't think it outdoes the original, which has such an audacious ending, but it's the first time that they've really managed to really kind of rise to that level.
The thing is, okay, so they play around with the original with Billy and Stu, right? Like, hey, stab me. But here, she just fucking kills Charlie.
Yeah,
like, she stabs him in the heart, and it's amazing. But she is still left to Billy and Stu herself, and they could have wimped out here and just been like, showed her stabbing herself in the arm, and she's like, oh no, like she needs to act like she not only was she attacked and injured, but she put up a fight, like she's a fighter, and to do that she needs to cause damage to herself and her environment around her, and it's great. And then the scene in the hospital is so great too. Like also, so she's let out of the house on a stretcher, and you can see the smirk, the small smile on Joel's face, with the flashing, the photographers and the people, the press.
Which reminded me of Trevor Slattery smiling when he gets arrested at the end of Iron Man 3. He just wants to be a star. Yeah.
And the moment when she learns Sid is alive, like that's such a great moment, like having realizing what she has to do. And Sid even says like something like, you'll slip, they always do. And she messes up, mentions Gail's wound, leading to the hospital showdown, which is so brutal. She's fucking punching Sid in the stomach after she stabbed her, like and kneeling on her, like, oh God, like again, this is a menacing, malicious movie, which is why I love it, because it's such that it is as much of a horror streak as the first one, I think. So
Jill is the best villain since Billy and Stu, for sure. Like, just like, even though there was certainly other fun stuff with Debbie Salt and whatnot, it's just like this is just, it's such a fun like way to go, and everything with her. Just
I think, yeah, I agree. And I also think maybe even her, maybe not. I think, yeah, obviously Scream is still king, but like, I think her reveal is the most fun and shocking as a straight reveal, because the big twist in Scream is that there are two killers.
Yes.
Because when Billy reveals he's the killer, you're like, okay, like that's cool, but like he's been the red herring. It was
a purposeful red herring.
So the twist is that there's someone else.
Yeah.
Here, she's the twist in and of itself. Like she is, and she's also revealed to be the second killer. It's like she's not revealed first. So Sid gets her with a defibrillator. It takes 4 to take her down, basically, at the end.
Judy saves Gail.
Judy gets shot. Dewey gets taken out by a bedpan. Like pummeled.
Yeah.
Like not one hit.
Yeah.
Like I thought she was gonna beat him to death with the thing. And then defibrillators and a shot to the heart, and puts Jill down. Great ending with the press singing her praises outside, not knowing what's gone down just a few feet away.
Excellent ending. And it's interesting because I was curious myself, like rewatching this and thinking about how they did talk a lot when it was coming out about how this was the idea was to do a new trilogy. And it's funny because the first trilogy are very, it's not a trilogy in any sort of continuing narratives. I mean, it's continuing narrative characters, but it's not like the movies end in cliffhangers, right? Like each movie introduces a brand new situation. And even if they tie it into things from the past, it's not like we were like left wondering about it before that. So with this, when Scream 4, we're thinking back about the fact that they talked a lot about, this could be a new trilogy, or we plan it to be a new trilogy. I was like, well, what was the idea? Was it going to just be like the first trilogy? Like each time we'll kind of start over? Or was there a continuing narrative? And then I read recently about the original ending to this movie, and I was trying to source
that it was going to be a cliffhanger, right? And I couldn't source it, but then I think it's a leaked script. But it made a lot of sense to me when I read what that ending was, because it just mattered, because the ending apparently was going to be everything we saw without the hospital, except that as Jill is being brought out. And they actually, like, news reporters want to talk to her, and she's briefly talking to news reporters. There was going to be a yell from inside the house that one of the females is alive, and it was going to end with a look of her hearing that, and that was going to be the end of the movie. So it's going to be to be continued, because and then there was also rumors going forward that the second one was going to be like sort of a cat and mouse chess game between an It's Your Move game, if you will, between Sid and Jill, with Sid the only one knowing the truth. But Sid has amnesia, so
and I don't know.
It takes her like half the movie to recall her memory, and then something,
because you can see. I mean, that would be funny, but you can see the version that Jill continues in this macabre way. The cliffhanger would have had an extra added element because they weren't going to say whether it was Sydney or Kirby. Some fans have always wanted Kirby,
and then they would have put it to an actual Twitter vote and pick who lives.
Right, but probably Sydney. But yeah, you can see that. That all being said, the ending they went with, well, first of all, it ended up being the wise move because this movie didn't do well, and so they wouldn't have they didn't make another one because it didn't do well. So thank God it didn't end with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Of course, sadly, Wes Craven would die a few years later, but they would have already made another one if it had been a hit before he died. But it wasn't a hit; they didn't make it. Also, though, I just think the ending that they went with was great. As far as like, again, the final, the fight in the even though the movie peaks with Jill's reveal and beating the shit out of herself, the stuff in the hospital is still great. The very end is great with that, the reporter singing her praises, as you mentioned. And also, if they had never made another one, I thought this was a great fucking ending. We've talked a lot about like Dexter and Matrix and the idea of like redoing your ending. Now, Scream 3 was not as bad as the things I just mentioned as far as a finale goes, but it was not great.
This was a much better ending. Again, yeah, this could have stood as an end for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, even of course, Sydney gets like the great line about "Don't fuck with the original." We
didn't mention that. That's great. First rule of remakes, right?
And so I just remember when this movie came out and it bombed, being like, you know what, I'm okay with that because it was such a satisfying way to conclude the Scream series. If they don't make any more,
guess what? They made another one.
What?
News flash.
Oh my God. I gotta catch up.
Yeah. And it comes out next week, Eric. You're like,
oh, great. That's way too long. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's good. I wish we only got a week's notice for every movie.
We got like 3 weeks notice for Cloverfield once. Although then there was the bad one on Netflix.
There was the one where it's like, all right, tonight after the Super Bowl, bad Cloverfield.
Right. There's probably a reason we're only giving you a couple hours notice. But 10 Cloverfield Lane is great, and they give us like 3 weeks or a month of notice.
And that wasn't even supposed to be a Cloverfield movie.
Right.
Just was.
Anyway, Scream 4 is great. And it's your second favorite. And right now it's mine too. I'm always, I always like move my MCU rankings around and whatnot. So, but yeah, Scream 4 totally delivers. Again, I don't think that any of these 4 movies is bad, because it's like, even Scream 3, even though it has the stuff that I think is easily the weakest, I still like that movie. But it's the weak point. But Scream 4, very, very satisfying.
So good. Scream 4.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all for joining us in this Screamathon, the Stabathon within the Screamathon, from Scream to Scream.
But we'll be talking in a couple weeks. We'll, a few days after, like we normally do.
We'll probably do it next weekend, because I'm seeing it on like a normal person on Thursday.
I'm seeing it again that night. So yeah,
we'll do. Christ. All right. Okay. Until then, everything is possible, but nothing is real. We don't need friends. We need fans. And Shakma.
Shakma.